Jagrative. Jai Masters. What is joy? If somebody asks you, have you ever experienced joy? What is joy? The deepest and simplest answer is not a warm kitten. That's not what joy is. Joy is an uplifting experience, waves of energy coming up freely inside of you. It's always going up. Joy doesn't go down. Joy goes up. And it's very beautiful. It's a wonderful experience. It raises you. It is joyful. How's that? A decent definition of joy, okay? It's an experience. It's an experience you have. Out here, the pillow, the thing, no. It is something you experience inside. That's what joy is. It is an inner experience of upliftment. So that's a simple beginning of a spiritual discussion. From there, you can say, why do I feel joy? Not what is joy. Why do I feel joy? And then you're going to be able to look out and say, well, when this person said they love me, I felt joy. When this person gave me the winning lottery ticket for $3 million, I felt joy. When the baby came out, I felt joy. On my wedding day, which was just this beautiful thing, I felt joy. When my father told me he was proud of me that I graduated, I felt joy. Okay, fine. So there are things outside that when they happen, they make joy happen inside. Fair enough? But the joy is not your father saying, I'm proud of you. What if you didn't like your father? What if he treated you really, really badly? All of a sudden he shows up at your graduation and you're freaked out. I'm so proud of you. No joy. So it's not the words. It's not that particular situation of what's being said. It's basically the combination of how you feel about what's happening outside. Let's go straight. How you felt to begin with about what's happening outside before you felt the joy. What if your ex-husband shows up with his or her new spouse and you're a terribly jealous person and they show up and they say something nice? They ain't going to do it. We already went so deep. You guys are wonderful. You can go home now because you understand what's going on. There are things that happen outside. Well, there's always things that happen outside. It's a happening place, isn't it? There's things going on outside. When they come in to you, how do they come into you? You have senses. 5 of them. If you didn't have them, it wouldn't matter what they said. You wouldn't hear it. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't feel it. They come in because you have senses. Get that straight. If you didn't have senses, if the body didn't gift you with these 5 senses, you don't know there's a world out there at all. Isn't that neat? So obviously that's not going to do anything. So the sequence of offense is something happens outside, it comes in through your senses, and for some reason, it either creates joy, it creates depression, sadness, heavy, or it doesn't do squat, like the lines on the road you drive past all day. They don't do anything. They're coming in. Look how easy it is. That's what's going on, isn't it? Now the question becomes not, why do events happen outside? Events always happen outside. Right now, how many events are happening on the planet Earth? Everywheres. They're happening everywheres. But the only ones that affect you are the ones that come in through your senses. Why do they have the effects they do? Now we've figured out what's happening. Events are happening. They come in. They can create joy, sadness, or be neutral. What determines what they do? Not like you decide. It happens. It happens because of what you have already going on inside of you. That's what determines how what comes in affects inside of you. So if you didn't get along with your father, the probability is if someone says, hey, your father's on the phone, you really, really, really loved your father, and you haven't heard from him in a long time, your father's on the phone, same phone call, same F-A-T-H-E-R, but not the same you. So it isn't the fact that father or mother or boyfriend or girlfriend or child or lottery ticket create joy. What if you are very much not into money? You are renunciant of money. You've practiced that completely, everything. Everyone knows you're not into money, and you win the lottery for $6 million. Don't tell anybody. You see what I'm saying? It's not the event. It's not the person. It's not what they said. It comes in. I'm sorry to really belabor the point. You're in high school. Because you were all weird in high school. We were all weird in high school. I'll get this straight. Now, that was a tough trip, high school, right? You're in high school, and you got cliques, all right? And all of a sudden, somebody from the other clique that is, no, we don't deal with them, and you're with all your friends, your doobies, and somebody from the other clique comes over there and just says, I just want to tell you, I just admire you so tremendously. And everyone's listening, and this is somebody no one likes. How you doing? It isn't the words. It is what you have already programmed inside of you, that when the event comes in, it passes through that, and that's what determines what the reaction is. So then that's very logical. And is this important to talk about? I mean, you got to live in there. You got to live with this. So now the question becomes, why is it that way in here? How did it get that way in here? How did it get that there's this filter that the outside passes through, and by the time it gets through, you either feel joy, depression, sadness, or didn't do anything. Guess what most stuff does? Guess what most stuff that comes into your senses all day does? Nothing. Trees are passing by, cars are passing by, clouds are passing by. In general, 99% of every single thing that comes into your senses doesn't do squat. It's just something you experience. It just passes through. Doesn't leave impressions, doesn't freak you out, doesn't do anything. That's pretty neat to know, right? But there's that 1% that comes in that does do things, doesn't it? That's serious things. What is that about? Where does the veil come from? That veil that things pass through. It comes from your past. V.F. Skinner said, man is the sum of his learned experiences. From a psychological point of view, he's right. Your psyche, this veil, has been programmed by your past. If you liked things in your past and something similar to them happening now, I guarantee you get excited. If you did not like things in your past and something similar is happening now, I guarantee you get scared. This veil, not you. You are not the sum of your learned experiences. You are the one in there that notices your psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. You're the one that notices you got these issues that some things turn you. You do know things turn you on and turn you off, don't you? You're aware. You notice it. Who? You. So there's the difference, right? Because I'm talking about the consciousness, the awareness. That's who you are. If something comes in and makes you feel sad, you noticed. Otherwise, who cares? If something comes in and makes you feel love, you notice. Who does? Is it the same you in there that notices it made you feel sad, that notices it made you feel happy? There's one in there. You're not bifurcated. Here's the part that knows happiness, and here's the part that knows sadness. No, it's the same consciousness that says, wait a minute, I was doing so well until you said that. Now I'm doing terrible. How do you know how you were doing before I said it? And how do you know how you're doing after I said it? Because you are a conscious, aware being, and you're conscious, aware of what's going on in there. So for the rest of this discussion, let's get straight. That's who you are, not the psyche. You are not the psyche. The psyche is just impressions that got left from your past, and they're strong. We saw what they can do. They're strong impressions, and basically they get hit because stuff comes in, and then that's what you experience. What you experience, not who you are. So it's not true that man or woman are the sum of their learned experiences. They are this consciousness that is aware that the psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. So Skinner's not wrong. You watch the sum of your learned experiences, don't you? Somebody says something to you 2 hours ago that you didn't like. I want to know what it's like when they show up 2 hours later. It's still going on, isn't it? You get all upset. Now you understand everything. The world is going to unfold in front of you. If something comes in and it hits your stuff, can I call it your stuff? What is your stuff? The collection that you didn't let go of that happened in your past. Most of you let go right through. Remember? 99% every day is all happening. You don't have a problem with it. Drive by a tree, see the tree. See it tomorrow, see a tree. But if it left an impression that you were not comfortable with, or you were very comfortable with, oh, look at that tree. Oh my God, that's the one they said was worth $1 million. Is that on my land? Oh my God, it's right on the edge. Look what you've just done to a stupid tree. In other words, it didn't pass through. Can you get that impression? Things pass through, don't they? But not all of them. No, not on my watch. This is not going to happen. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you dressed like that. How could you dress like that when we're going? How could you drive like that? Something inside says things like that, doesn't it? No, not on my watch. And you resist when it starts to come in. That's why it stays in there. That's what your veil is made of. The things you did not let pass through. Now, if you want to justify, I shouldn't have let this pass through. Okay, do whatever you want. The point is, I can tell you a secret. You let stuff pass through, you process it, you're way better off. Because you're not building this veil that has conditions that are going to determine what happens for the rest of your life. So if daddy was not nice to you and spanked you, or mommy, or whatever it is, right, when you're up to 6, 8 years old, and then it stops, and you're now 68, I don't want that going on inside of me. It hasn't happened for 60 years. Why do I want that if the word mother or father or somebody said something about spanking, whatever it is, when it comes in, I feel the same freakness that I did 60 years ago. Why would I want that? Why do I want to carry it for my whole life? It hasn't happened for 60 years, but it wasn't nice. The not niceness of that happening when you were 6 is nowheres compared to the 60 years you carried it with you, making it bother your life. Let it go. Understand that if I don't let it go, it is going to become part of that veil we talked about. And I'm going to be sensitive about that subject. For how long? Till the day I die. Ask Freud. This is what's going on. That's your psyche. It's not who you are. So you start to understand the world's going to unfold. It's going to hit the veil that you built, that you held on to, and then it's going to cause that reaction. It's a filter. If you shine light through a filter, it's going to come out the other side based on the filter, isn't it? Right? If the filter was orange, you got orange light. Red, you got red light. Blue, you got blue light. Dark, no, you got no light. Clear, you got plenty of light. That's what this is. Your psyche that you've built inside is a veil, a filter that the world must pass through in order for you to experience it. And so when you experience it, it has been tinged by that filter. And there is no such thing as, no, I adjusted for it. No, you didn't. If you were capable of adjusting for it, you wouldn't be holding on to it. If it didn't bother you anymore, then it wouldn't be there. You can't sit there and say, yes, I'm freaked out by what my father did when I was young, but it's not affecting me. Well, you just said you're freaked out by it. Yeah, but I make sure I don't go near there, and I don't go near the house, and I don't live in the same state. Okay, you got it all worked out. What you have done is said, because I have this veil that things hit and cause trouble, I have manipulated everybody and everything in my life to not hit it. That is what is going to happen if you don't wake up. You're going to have to create environments outside of you, purposely, willfully, that don't hit your stuff. And all I've talked about is the negative stuff. I don't want to lay on your head the positive stuff, but we're in here to talk truth. Are there positive impressions? Of course there are positive impressions. The first time you get a kiss, the first time someone says they love you, the first time you get a new car, there's all kinds of things that happen out there that when they come in, they're beautiful. We said that, didn't we? What do you do with those? You let them pass right through? No, you hold on to them because you want them to happen again. You do what the Buddhists call cling. You cling to them. You said, you love me, stay, don't move, stay right there, wait, I'll be right back. If you did something that makes me feel good inside, you ain't going nowheres. Okay? You are staying right here. And so you grab it and you hold it. Why? Because it's pleasant. The other you push away because it's not pleasant. In both cases, the same thing happens. It stays in your veil. It becomes your veil. This is what I don't like. This is what I do like. You do have those things, don't you? What are they called? Oh, yeah, preferences, desires and fears. The Buddhists call them preferences. I like that word, preferences. It's a natural thing to have, isn't it? You have preferences, don't you? Where did you get them? Not how do you fulfill them. Where did you get them? You got them from your past experiences. There are no preferences that you have that are not due to your past experiences. You only know what you've experienced, other than the knowledge of self, but we're not there yet. We'll talk about that a little later. But it turns out that you in there who's noticing has a nature. It's not just bland. I know it's not a light shines on it, doesn't know anything. There is a nature to self. But I don't want to talk about that yet. Most people don't know about it. They only know what they see. I'm watching the mind. I'm watching the heart. I'm watching the world. That's what my consciousness is doing. And if the world comes in and it makes a nice impression inside of me, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to use my will. Do you have will? Can you push thoughts around in there? Can you hold on to things? Can you push things around out here? You have a power inside, don't you? You're not just totally neutral. You can make things happen, both inside and out. Make your mind say hello right now. Hello, over and over, inside. Is it doing it? First of all, how do you know it's doing it? Because you're in there. And second, it did what you told it to do. How did you get it to do it? How did you get your mind to say hello? You used your will. You asserted will to make that happen. So you have this strength inside, and you use it to try to hold on to which made you feel good, and try to push away, keep it at a distance, that which made you feel bad. And if you don't know it yet, and most people do not know it, that is not a very intelligent thing to do with things that bothered you. Keep them inside. I got there in a new book. I just looked at it. I said, my God, if you're going to store every single thing that bothered you inside of you, guess how you're going to be? Bothered. It's not neutral, right? If somebody says something or somebody does something at any point in your life and you didn't like it, and so you resist it, where do you think it went? It stayed inside your psyche, subconscious, conscious, I don't care. It stayed inside your psyche. And it went down into your heart. It went all the way down through the system, your energy system. Yogis understand that. There's energy in there. And you built these patterns, these samskaras, these blockages, because you pushed away that which you didn't like. And we do it all the time. It's instinctual. I don't like what you said. I don't like what you did. I don't like what you look like. I don't like this. I don't like how you talk to my boyfriend. And so you stored inside that which is going to make you sensitive if it ever starts to happen again. If you just see the person again, it hurts. It brings its stuff back up. And somehow you think that's okay. Somehow you think that means, oh, I don't want to see this person anymore. I know how to fix this. Don't see the person anymore. Okay. Boy, how many got on your list? Okay. You may keep a bucket list. I want to know the not bucket list. What you don't want to see again. You got one of those, don't you? So this is what you've done. I don't know. I won't belabor the point. I should. Because it's the silliest thing in the whole world. Storing inside of you that which bothered you is a non-starter. All you're going to do is be bothered by it later. You could be alone in your house with nobody around and be bothered by something that happened 3 years ago. You did that. You did do it. The event happened, no question. Nobody's questioning that. But the fact that it's still in there is something you did with will. Doesn't mean you should feel guilty. We're not talking about that. It's not blame, shame on you. It's not that. It's just reality. The reality is, if you didn't store it, it would be over when it's over. But if you do store it, it's not over when it's over. And it keeps coming back up, doesn't it? So you eventually reach the point where here we're on the essence of spirituality, which is you realize, yeah, this is what I did, okay, my whole life. I pushed away that which was uncomfortable to me, that which hurt me, that which I didn't like. And so now it's stored inside of me, and it's making up what's called my self-concept, my concept of self, how I think about myself. You know what your concept of self is? I'm the person who likes this, likes that, doesn't like this, likes it. That's your self-concept. So at some point, we've now laid the groundwork for what do you want to do with your life. You have two choices. One, try your best to manipulate the world around you, people, places, and things, so that it doesn't do what hits your stuff, and so it does do what makes your stuff feel good. Be conditioned by what you've conditioned yourself. What was that? It was the 60s, there was a song. He just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. Okay? That's what you did, man. That's what you're doing all the time. You're dropping in to see what condition your condition is in. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, you're walking away, you're yelling at somebody, you're closing down, you're getting depressed. You're doing something in there because this is not good. This did not make me feel good. So one life you can live for your entire life is identifying with these likes and dislikes and preferences and pains and hurts and happinesses and so on that you collected inside yourself, and then manipulating the world to where people, places, and things are the way you want them to be. And we all do that, don't we? It seems so logical. That makes me happy. That makes me sad. We don't say why. We say, good, let's get it. We don't say, why is that happening inside of me? We sit there and say, okay, keep it. Stay away from that which makes you feel bad. Suppress it, push it away, yell at everybody. Just get away from me with your stuff. And the other is, I want it, I'm going to grab to it, and here you are in there doing one of those two things, and you'll struggle your whole life, right? Find Mr. or Miss Right. You better keep them. You better work on it. You better make sure they still like you. You better. That people say, well, I'm insecure in my relationship. Of course you're insecure in a relationship. If it doesn't go exactly want it to go, you get hurt. You feel pain. You feel disturbed. You're afraid you're going to lose it. So you basically understand what's going on. That's one life you can live. The other life you can live is, if it's all because I stored this stuff inside of me, maybe I shouldn't be storing this stuff inside of me. That's a spiritual life. Now you understand a worldly life. Nothing wrong with it. You're out there in the world grabbing, manipulating, controlling, complaining, etc. The other life is inside. I have decided, I see this. I don't want that stuff inside of me. I would like to be free, liberated. That's what liberation is. Freedom from yourself. Not freedom from society, not freedom from your parents, not freedom from authority. It is freedom from yourself. I've stored this stuff inside of me, and as such, it's telling me what to do. It's telling me who to like. It's telling me who not to like. It's telling me what I can accept, what I can't accept, isn't it? It's telling me every single thing that's based on what I stored in here. If it makes me happy, it told me how to go get it. If it messes me up, it told me to stay away from it and how to do that, etc., etc. Or you do this amazing thing, which I'm so proud of you guys that you even consider doing it, which is, instead of devoting yourself to your problem, learn how to let go. Learn how to let it go. So you become an open being. What's going to happen if I'm an open being? Let's just loop back around. When you got what you wanted, you opened. That's what it does. The veil opens, and you felt joy. I started by talking about joy, didn't I? That's when you feel joy. That's when you feel love. You don't feel it for someone you're closed around. And when you're closed, you feel yicky. You feel resistant. You feel closed. So instead of trying to find things that will make you feel open and make sure you don't find things that make you feel closed, how about getting rid of the veil? It's the whole way. I don't want that veil in there. Well, don't have the veil in there. Nothing will close me. Well, what if somebody says something that's not so nice to you? I stay open. I stay open. Why? Because I like to feel the joy. I don't know about you. I'd rather feel the joy than get all upset because somebody said something. There, it's that simple. But what if what they say, I don't care. I'm not going to trade off what they said for my joy. How about you? That's spiritual. It's not about right or wrong or good or bad. It's about, do I want to feel joy? Do I want to feel love? And the answer is, yeah, I like it. In other words, that's why I was out there trying to manipulate everybody to get it the way I wanted so I could feel love, so I could feel joy. I found a cheating secret passage. That's what yoga is. It's a little escape trap where you don't have to do all that stuff that everybody else has to do in order to feel love. I'm telling you right now, if you're open, you feel love. I can remember times when I was in high school, I was a sports car mechanic. There's reasons how that happened, but net result is I worked on MGs and Triumphs and Jaguars and all kinds of things. And it opened me. Cars opened me. I really liked it. And I can remember being next to a car that was, really beautiful, like a Ferrari. It's a really nice car, and feeling love. I mean, overwhelming love. It was just unbelievable. I walked around the car, and it just did not stop. There was just an overwhelming, beautiful feeling. It was, art, we feel that way, don't we? Doesn't it have to be a person to feel love, to feel open? Music can do it, can't it? It's not just a relationship with a person. And all of a sudden you say, wait a minute, what is going on here? How can I feel all that love for a car? How can I feel all that love for music? How can I feel all that love for a painting? Because you opened. It has nothing to do with the car. It has nothing to do with the painting. It's because it opened you. It stimulated you to open. Music that turns you on turns her off. It's just basically you open. And when you open, you feel love. That's the key word. Open is more important than the word love. Because if you close, you don't feel it. If you open, you do. So instead of trying to seek love, why don't you seek openness? Here, if I put the blinds down during the day, it's dark in here. You have two choices. Same choice I just gave you. One, hire a bunch of lighting companies to come in and spend all kinds of money to put lighting in all different places of your house, artificial lighting, so that you could have light in your house. Or open the blinds. That's what we're talking about. Building a life behind your closedness by bringing the right people in and keeping them there and make sure they say the right thing, do everything right, and make sure you have the artwork in there. Just try to build inside the closed cave that which is comfortable, that which feels better. Or open the blinds. But it could be scary. That's right. It could be scary out there. But boy, if you open those blinds, it becomes unconditional. It's there all the time. It never changes. If you open, it's always filled with love. It's always filled with joy. So the question is, do you want to go out and try to decorate the closed house, the tiny little cabin in there where you just pull the things in that you want and put the other things out and make it look the way you want so that you can feel some open or something? Or do you want to open? They want to learn how to open. That is spirituality. There's nothing wrong with the other. It just doesn't work as well. In fact, it doesn't work at all. Because everything keeps changing, you keep changing. And, that what you like when you're 14, you don't like when you're 24. It's hard, isn't it? Try and build something around that's exactly the way you want it to be, and it stays that way. It's very, very difficult. So basically, you get to the point where you say, I'd like to learn to stay open. How do you learn to stay open? You can't when you have all this stuff inside of you. You're afraid something will touch it. You're afraid you can trust anybody. You're afraid of this, you're afraid of that, you're afraid of that. Or you grabby, only this will work. It doesn't work. It's conditional. Therefore, the way to stay open is to let go of that which closes you. It's not to find something that you really like. I got to find my passion. Somebody asked me to talk to their students, and they teach their students, find your passion, find your passion. And I said, yes, it's wonderful. But I'd rather find out why you don't feel passionate about everything. Otherwise, again, it's this big, it's a very slim sliver that works for you. They all teach find your passion. It's beautiful. Of course I want you to find your passion. But your passion is this big. It has to be the right boss, the right job, and the right thing that they gave me at this time, and they can't have this going on. That's a pretty slim little thing over there, right? I want you to have passion all the time about everything. I want you to be passionate because you woke up in the morning. I want you to be passionate because you're falling asleep at night. I want you to be passionate because you're putting your clothes on. I want you to be passionate because somebody said to you, oh my God, that was the ugliest thing I ever saw. I want you to be passionate every single second of every moment of your life. I want you to feel love, joy, passion. I don't want it ever to go away. How's that? How's that? Let's set our star high enough to where at least if you achieve it, you made something. If you go out there and you get somebody that you like, it all changes. It always does. I don't know what to tell you. It comes and it goes. Finances, jobs, things that turned down before don't always turn down now, do they? And so you just come down to say, I want to set my sights. This is what spirituality means. It doesn't mean you renounce the rest. You don't renounce the rest. While you're doing this, the rest unfolds. You're just not defining it as the rest. You're not defining this is what will work and this. No. Staying open all the time, never closing, is what works. If you stay open, you feel the joy. You feel the love. If you close, you don't. 1 + 1 = 2. It's just simple stuff. So let's repeat it. If you stay open, you feel love, joy, passion. Because that's all the world did is get you to open once in a while. And you felt those things. Those are inside of you. You are able to have them all the time. They're your birthright. They're who you are. But you close. You close because somebody said something. You close because you thought something about somebody might have said something. You said if these triggers are unbelievable, of course you can't be okay. Because you close all the time over everything. Have a thought about what somebody said to you 4 years ago or in high school. It's going to bother you. You're going to close again. So you wake up. I can't do this. I don't want to live like that. I want to be unconditionally open. And when you get there, come visit me. Because I'm telling you right now, the joy and the love and the beauty that's flowing off of you is contagious. Just like you go be around a person who's depressed all the time. How do you feel? Open? Fun? It's the same thing with high. Be around a person that's always high. Be around a person that's emanating that joy and love. You're going to feel it. It's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to be around. Be that. Don't look for that. Be that. How? You have to stay open. Okay, now we're down to what's my spiritual work? Is there a way? Just say, well, I'm sensitive. Some people are sensitive. I'm sensitive. If somebody says something I don't like, I close. And I close for a long time. I don't forgive them. I say I do, but I don't because I can't. Because it hurt. It's locked inside of me. Anybody can relate at all? So you sit there and say, I don't want to be like that. Not I don't want them to say that. I don't want to be like that. If they say it, I don't want to close. If I have to deal with what they said, I want to do it from a place of openness, a place of joy, a place of acceptance. Doesn't mean I don't deal with it, but I don't deal with it because I closed. I don't deal with it because it hurt me. I don't deal with it because I can't deal with it. I can't handle it. Now, that's kind of not our natural state. Okay, our natural state is to defend ourselves, to fight, to push it away if it hurts, and to grab it if it feels good. That is the instinctual, natural thing that the will does because of how it's gotten trained. Just like an animal does that, fight or flight. So how do you get above that? The teachings are very simple. They're not easy to do, but they're simple to understand. What's it about? Here you go. There are going to be moments in your life, every single day, that things happen that open you, that things happen that close you. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but it's going to tend to be like that. It could be as simple as you walk into a restaurant, they're playing music that you like. It could be simple as you walk into a restaurant and people are sitting too close and they're too loud. It doesn't take much, does it? Let's be honest. Does it take much to open or close you? Well, it takes a fair amount to open you. It doesn't take a whole lot to close you, does it? It does not take much to close you. So you catch on. This is witness consciousness. You start with awareness, which is why you meditate, which is why you do mantra. You just do different techniques to where you're there, then the event happens. You're always there, but you get sucked into the event too quickly. You don't have space in there. You don't have time in there, distance, to where the event happens, I feel the reaction, and I'm still here. That's called being centered. I'm centered in the seat of awareness. I was aware that this energy started to come up. It is not true that anger happens instantaneously. Maybe to somebody who's never meditated or never worked on themselves, it's gone before they have a chance. But you aren't that. You've worked on yourself at least a little bit to where you feel it start to do this inside your stomach before it comes up. Every one of you know that you're about to get angry or hurt or desirous. You're going to feel these energies shift inside of you. And the question becomes, what do you do during those moments? That's the most important moment in your life. When an event takes place, it hits your stuff, and you see that you're about to close. That's where the rubber hits the road. Something happens, starts to cause this reaction. Do you buy into it and become the reaction and lose your center and then keep it all in there and let that whole mess happen once again? Or are you there? Can you notice I'm about to close? I feel it. I feel it in my heart. My mind is starting to get negative. I'm about to close. That's where your work is. That work is more important than the time you spend in meditation. You could spend hours in meditation and then go out and have this experience and close. You just wiped out your hours. You closed. You did it again. You made a habit out of not being able to handle things. If on the other hand, meditation is wonderful because I hope you stay centered, but on the other hand, something happens and you start to see yourself close. Now what do? That's the sacred time I want. I want to talk to you about that sacred moment in which you start to close. Right now at that moment, say, do you want to close or not? Because if you close, we already talked about what's going to happen. You lose your joy, you lose your love, you're not friends with somebody anymore, you resent them forever for the rest of your life. That's a big thing. Or do you want to stay open? And if your intent is to stay open, you will win. If your intent is to justify closing, please don't do that. Because then you're going to get caught right there. I was right to close. Well, that's like saying I'm right to not feel joy. I'm right to not feel love. And don't you dare think that it's selective with one person or another. You can be in the closest relationship forever, deep, deep with somebody. Then at work, something happened and you close down. You are bringing that closed state home. And because you justified closing, someday, somewhere, he or she will say something and you will close. And then when you start closing around the people you love, boy, I hope that's a danger sign. Then you sit there one day and say, I love you with all my heart, and then I can't stand to be around you. That's because you closed. That's a choice you made. So you just sit there and decide at that moment when it starts to close, no, I will not close. Then you get down to, has anyone ever taught you how not to close? I know I do. But are you willing to be there? The highest way is relax. The moment you see it start to tense up and close, and you know what that looks like, you in there, don't fight with it. Don't participate in it and don't fight with it. Just relax. Give it space. It will let go. Energy does not stay inside of you unless you hold it there. It is an act of will. You can do it. Over time, you can do it. You can relax. Well, why would I do that? So it doesn't stay stuck in you. You can always come back and deal with the person, place, or thing as soon as you've processed it, neutralized it. It's not leaving these marks inside of you for the rest of your life. It's your responsibility. It's your house in there. You're the only one in there. And so you decide, I'm going to relax. I'm going to let go. All right, what happens if I can't relax? Okay, let's start with positive thinking. I still use that. Most of the time I can relax, but if I can't, if that's not what's happening, I can see. You can see what you're going to need. I would just start writing that. I love it. I love it. This is so beautiful. I'm so glad she said that. Oh my God, I feel so insulted. I love feeling insulted. And so you use your will instead of your will to resist this thing. Use your will to create an environment in which it has room to let go. That's called intent. If your intent is to try to stay open, you will win. The moment your intent is to no longer try this, then you won't do it. And you'll have more scars inside. You'll have more stored stuff. So you basically say, my intent is to let this pass. I don't care what was said. I don't care what was done. I don't care what it is. My first reaction is, it's reality. It happened. I can't change reality. No one has ever changed something that already happened to not happen. So adapt to the fact that somebody said something you didn't like for a moment. You can still come back and deal with it. I'm not into not dealing with things. I'm into not reacting to things, into not being personal so that I can't deal with it because I took it so personal, I'm freaking out, and then leaving marks inside myself. So instead, first you deal with it. First, that's your intent. I'm on a spiritual path. I want my heart open. I want my mind open. Therefore, I cannot close. Therefore, I'll use affirmation. Best I can, just start it. Just don't let the mind say what it wants to say. If something happens and it starts to close, you don't want to see what your mind's going to say because you know what it's going to say. The verbiage of a closed mind will pull you right down into this and it will leave marks inside of you forever. Versus using positive thinking. You can use positive thinking. You can use mantra. Mantra is a psychological technique that works no matter what your religion is or even atheist, be anything you want. I don't care. Mantra is basically saying, my mind can operate at multiple levels. Can't yours? You can be sitting there listening to me and still be thinking something inside your head. It's like you have tiers of the mind. Train the higher tier. Train one of your tiers to say the mantra. So you basically, let's say you don't have a Sanskrit mantra, so your mantra is, I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. Whoa, would I like to have you have that going on inside your mind all the time? So you train your mind. Ever get a song stuck in there? It won't stop? I'd like the mantra stuck in there to not stop. I can handle this. I can handle this. Or Sri Ram Jai Ram. I don't care. It's your business. But please do it. I still do it. For all these years, I keep that going on in there. It's like a safety net. So that if something happens and it starts to react, what I hear is whatever mantra is, I can handle that. I can handle that. That's going on in the background. It's always in the background. It doesn't distract you. You can still do your work. But you've trained your mind to have a layer. And then you settle back into that. And the next thing you know, you're not getting pulled down into the reactive energy of your stored stuff. But in the end, if you can relax, the stuff will come up. And you want it to come up. You had enough trouble that the person said something or did something and it hit your stuff. It's bad enough the person said it, but now you got the stuff going on inside. Well, if you want to let go of the stuff, you have to let go of the stuff. It's your intent. That's what it means to be on a spiritual path. period. It's all the time. It's regardless of work, relationship. I don't care. You're always doing the same thing. You're letting go of yourself. You're letting go of the stuff that got stored in there. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to get happier. You are, I guarantee you. You're going to feel more joy. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to be less afraid because you know that you're okay regardless of what happens. That's where I want you. I don't want you to find a little house and a little person and a little box that you know if you keep it that way, you're okay. Most people can't even do that, by the way. They don't succeed at that. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to know you're going to be okay no matter what happens. Wouldn't that be nice? You don't have to be afraid of a relationship. You don't have to be afraid of a job. You don't have to be afraid of the new boss. You don't have to be afraid of anything because you're fine. This is how you get there. But you have to be willing to do the work. It's as simple as that. This is your work. But like I said, if you do the work inside, it doesn't mean you don't work outside, but get that inside neutral first. If you're reacting outside because you couldn't handle what happened, you're not going to do very well. Because now instead of resisting inside, you're resisting outside. You're pushing it away. Say you're sorry. Say you're sorry. How could you say that to me? And all of a sudden, woo, it's not so much fun to be around. So you own the responsibility of keeping your house clean. And I gave you a couple of clues. The book goes deeply into this. Living untethered. That's what it means. Living untethered. You're not tied down to yourself. And then really, and I always close this way, we just talked about having a nice life. You're not fighting with everybody all the time. You're not getting hurt all the time. Man, this thing about getting hurt, that's a drag. I don't want you getting hurt. You're a beautiful person. You shouldn't get hurt. You're inside. You can't get hurt in there. The Gita says that. There's a line in the Gita that says, weapons pierce it not. Waters cannot overwhelm it. That self inside is inside. Your conscience can't be touched by anything except that you let your mess get created in there. So you work on yourself. Then what's going to happen, it'll come in stages, is you'll find you're happier. At first you're happy. You're happy is wonderful. And then something bigger will come up. Because you stop the small stuff, something bigger will come up that you've held in there your whole life. And you may have noticed it, you may not have. It comes out of what Freud called the subconscious, that which you pushed away. And now it comes up. Why? Because there's not as much stuff. And at some point, can you handle it? What I want for you, keep letting go. I beg you. Don't ever get off this train. Just keep letting go. And the big stuff will come up and it will release. And then it will release and it will release and it will release. And the next thing you know, you start to get really high. You wake up in the morning, there's all this power pouring out of your heart. You become a being of power. You become a being of light. It just emanates through you because that's what's inside of you. And you don't have to close. So we've basically run the whole course. And what did it boil down to? Don't close. Learn not to close, ever. Well, you're not going to succeed at first. So you practice. You practice not closing. So it boils down to, you practice not closing. All right. And we started by talking about joy. That's when you feel joy. You are made of joy. That's what you are. You're a bundle of joy. And nothing can take it away from you. It's yours. All right. Work on these things. Jagradav.